You're not paranoid.
Okay, so last weekend, or was it last week? I actually think it was last week. Yeah, it was like a third. Are we going? Okay, cool. Last Thursday, my boyfriend and I went out to dinner, and it was like Chicken Bucket Thursday, something like that. And we ordered some chicken, and it's a wine bar.
That sounds so interesting.
I know. Okay, so apparently
go there.
They do chicken and waffles, and then it was so popular that everyone loved the chicken. They're like, let's make it a special for Thursday nights, and so you can order
a wine bar.
At a wine bar.
Sick.
They have really good food, actually.
I want to go there.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, what kind of wine do you want? Because we're at a wine bar and we're sitting at the bar, and this bartender just paint the picture is like very millennial in that he's kind of dressed hip, has that super Disney unapproved twirly mustache.
Was it like exactly how we described a bartender?
Yes, it's exactly, except for his hair is more of that like side comb with a little bit of a short haircut. I feel like we don't see that as often lately, but he still has it going. You would expect him to be wearing suspenders, but he wasn't.
Okay.
That kind of a look. Kind of like, are you a bartender? Are you a barber? Not too sure. So we're sitting there and I'm like, okay, I am going to get a wine, but I never know what wine I like. I just know at night I drink red wine because it kind of chills me out. At night? I do at night. White wine is more of like a light,
I see,
like
during
morning
the day.
wine. Not that I drink a lot of wine.
There's an appropriate wine for all times of the day.
Yeah, and then in the afternoons you are like Branch's rosé. So anyways, I barely drink wine, but I do know I like red wine. So I'm like, okay, hey bartender with the nice mustache. And also my boyfriend told him his mustache was on point, which was really uncomfortable. And the bartender was like, and walked away, which I wasn't sure if he heard him or not. And then he tried to, I think he went to like, no, because it's like pointy, not just like on point. I was like, please stop. Okay. So anywho, so I asked the bartender, I'm like, okay, listen, I don't know what red wine I like, but I know I like something that's dry and smooth. And he's like, oh, I have just the thing. So he goes, pours a little bit. And I love when they give you a sample because you feel like, thank you, like for letting me.
You're supposed
like
to.
You're assuming that you're going to go like try 10 wines. You're like, no, you're probably going to pick this one. So I tried the wine and I was like, yes, this is perfect. And I ordered it without even asking the price like a luxury person. Just full on went for it. I was like, this is it.
I like that phrase, by the way.
What?
Luxury person?
I did, because usually you're like, ooh, like how much, is you look at the wine menu and you're like, oh, those are real expensive, those are probably delicious, but also I'm not paying $28 for a glass of wine.
Yep.
But yeah, I was, for some reason, after I tasted it, which is such a good marketing or like salesperson thing, you try it and you're like, yes, that is what I'll have without even consulting.
I just imagine you having like really big dark sunglasses on.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, at night in the bar, drinking
like,
red wine.
Get me a glass of this. I don't need to know how much it is.
Darling bartender, this is perfect. Your mustache is on point. Bring me that red. And it was really good. It was called like, it's spelled Peju. I think it's Peju.
Sure.
Super delicious. Highly recommended.
There you go.
Get after it.
Buy us some.
Anyways, hello. This is Kylie.
And I'm Katie.
And this is our podcast called Red Wine on Luxury People. Red Wine Luxury People. No, this is our podcast called You're Not Paranoid.
Welcome.
We talk about
a myriad of different topics ranging from natural disasters or true crime
and
or disease, etc. Plus many more.
Including today's topic, which is
cosmetics? ?
Are they regulated?
Let's
talk about it.
Let's find out.
We didn't coordinate that one. Could you tell?
No, because I should have asked that.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Are they regulated? I wonder.
I will tell you all about that. Let's get into it. So let's talk about actually what's truly required by the law.
Oh, probably nothing.
Well, it's weird because you think cosmetics, you're putting, okay, let me just do my thing. This is going to be very, like a lot of, facts. And then also us going, what?
Yeah, make sure you got your seatbelts on for this one.
While you're driving especially.
Because you're going to be like, what?
Yeah, the whole time. That's all you're going to be. Your boss is like, can you please stop disturbing the rest of us? We're trying to work over here. And you're with your red wine, just like, what?
What?
Please stop drinking red wine at 10 a.m. Okay, so 1938, the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act was passed, which is under the purview of the FDA. So cosmetics are regulated and have been so for 80 years, just as medical devices and drugs are regulated by the FDA. However, the difference is, while many things have changed for drugs and devices, like the ISO requirements and testing and all that, as technology has evolved, cosmetics have not really changed those regulations.
Cool.
And just to get it started, cosmetic products do not need FDA approval. They're largely self-regulated.
We know that always works well.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're going to discipline yourself. Don't do that thing. But then if you do it, put yourself on timeout. That always works.
Mm-hmm.
So the FDA themselves say that FDA regulated does not mean FDA approved. And that is something that's very important to understand here.
Interesting.
FDA does not have the legal authority to approve cosmetics before they go onto the market. Although they do approve color additives that are used in them, parentheses, except for coal tar hair dyes.
Can you say that again?
Yes. So this is all from I just want to make it clear, this is all from the FDA's website, because it's kind of like, what? Like we said. So most of this is verbatim, just so that you guys are understanding exactly what's being said. And the wording is very careful as well.
Yeah, I can already tell.
Exactly. So the FDA does not have legal authority to approve cosmetics before they go on the market.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. The two most important laws that pertain to cosmetics in the United States are the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, which I mentioned. That's the FD&C Act, and the Fair Packaging and Labeling Act. That's called the FPLA. So the FDA uses these two laws, and only these two laws, to regulate cosmetics.
Yikes.
A change in the FDA's legal authority over cosmetics would require Congress to change the laws.
Whew.
As we know, that's just such an easy task,
Yes.
So it's pretty cool. We're still going, yes. It's pretty cool because I'm guessing that the FDA has gotten a lot of questions from people. Mm-hmm. So they've on their website, and we'll have all of our sources on our website at you'renotparanoid.com, where they have it kind of question and answer. So that's kind of how I'm going to go with it, because that's how they present it. And I found that super helpful to digest, but also like you just did. You're like, can you read that back to me? Because it is very careful. So what is considered a cosmetic under the law? Anything and everything that goes on your body that is not for medicinal or therapeutic purposes, and soaps. For some reason, those are their own category.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not talking about it, but I just wanted to specify that they say that soap is not a cosmetic. FYI.
Interesting.
So anything that is intended to be rubbed, poured, sprinkled, or sprayed on, introduced into, or otherwise applied to the human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering your skin appearance.
Promoting attractiveness?
Yes.
Dang.
And this is verbatim. That's actually from the FD&C Act, Section 201. I don't know if that's, or 2011. These also include skin moisturizers, perfumes, lipsticks, fingernail polishes, eye and facial makeup, cleansing shampoos, permanent waves, hair colors, and deodorants, as well as any substance intended for the use as a component of a cosmetic product.
Wow.
It does not include soap.
That's weird.
I know.
Big
if
soap
it is
company.
Sorry?
Like, you know how they say like big pharma? It's like big soap.
I know, right?
They got exempt.
The micellar industry. If it's sold for therapeutic use, such as treating or preventing disease, or to affect the structure or function of the body, it is considered a drug. And that is something entirely different and has different regulations. Or in some cases, a medical device, depending. So it really depends. All of this goes into what is its intended use.
Yeah.
That is how anything is regulated under the FDA. So what do those two laws say? Are the laws that specify, let's get into the FD&C Act. The FD&C prohibits the marketing of adulterated or misbranded, those are the two keywords, adulterated or misbranded cosmetics in interstate commerce. So adulteration refers to violations involving what the product is made of, which can result from the ingredients, contaminants, the processing, the packaging, shipping, and handling.
Wow.
Any of those things are referring to the adulteration. A cosmetic is considered adulterated if it contains something disgusting that's poisonous or deleterious. Is that pronounced correctly?
I don't know what that is.
Let's just say it contains something that's poisonous or can cause injury to the user while used normally or following instructions. If it contains any filthy, putrid, or decomposed substance.
Ew.
The way it was prepared or packaged or held was unsanitary or maybe have been contaminated, which could result in injury or death to the end user. If the container itself is poisonous or can cause injury, or if it has an additive, like a color additive, which is unsafe within the specific law. Colors have their own thing too, and I'm going to talk about that later.
That's weird.
Misbranding, so that was the other word I specified, refers to a violation involving improperly labeled or deceptively packaged products.
Okay.
So if the label itself is misleading or not true, if it doesn't have all the required information that the FDA specifies, the container itself is formed or filled to be misleading, kind of like how chips are filled halfway.
Yeah.
Not cool. I want all of my chips. If the color additive, there's the colors again, doesn't conform to applicable regulations, and if there are no warning statements required or clear directions for safe use. So if something shouldn't be in your eyes, it should be, say, like, do not put in your eyes. Something like that. It seems straightforward, but I don't know. People are weird. Don't put stuff in your eyes. Rule number 1.
Spray this hairspray into my eye.
I mean, I don't know. Like, what if a teenager is doing it and they don't know better? Like, you do that thing where you, like, kind of, if you're doing your bangs, you shield your eyeballs with your hand. Anywho, under the FLPA, that's that other law about labeling, the FDA does require a list of ingredients for cosmetics marketed on a retail basis to consumers. And if they fail to comply with this, they are considered misbranded.
Okay.
However.
Oh no, here we go.
There's always a however. Companies easily avoid listing their ingredients by claiming that if they do so, they'll give away company trade secrets.
That's the big thing I was
proprietary.
BS.
Baloney. So this requirement doesn't apply to cosmetics. So this is another sidebar over here. The requirement for this labeling, etc., does not apply to cosmetics that are distributed solely for professional use, institutional use, such as mental institutions. Just kidding. Just like
I was like, wait, what?
Like schools or the workplace, or as free samples in hotel amenities. And I'm like, no.
Oh.
So if you think about it, and I was like, that moment where you have like that flashback, you're like, like, what have I used that was from a hotel? I can't remember them having any instructions. It's usually just like some random brand with a cute little soap bar.
Yeah.
Which always dries out your skin. Why does it do that? It
always feels so gross.
It does not feel good. You'd think if they're going to put their brand name on there that they would want it to be, but then who are they? I never looked it up. We should look that up. But they're not all the same. But you get what I'm saying.
But they all feel the same.
They all feel dry. Just trying to make it not so dry. Anyways. Oh, but soaps are different.
Yeah, I was just going to put soaps aren't in it.
There's the reason. Okay, that's fine. Fine, keep being dry. The FDA says that soaps are special because The regulatory definition of a soap is different from the way in which people commonly use the word.
Okay.
So soaps are exempt from the provisions of the FD&C Act because the act talks about articles for cleansing in the definition of a cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
But in the definition of a cosmetic, it excludes soap from the definition of what it is.
Okay, so it's basically saying that soap's not a cosmetic.
Soap is not a cosmetic, but not every product marketed as a soap meets the FDA's definition of a soap.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so the FDA interprets the term soap to only apply when the bulk of the non-volatile matter in the product consists of an alkali salt of fatty acids, like the micelles we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the product's detergent properties are due to those compounds, the alkali fatty compounds. And the product is labeled, sold, and represented solely as a soap.
I see where you're going with this.
So products that meet this definition are regulated by that are specifically just soap are actually regulated by the Consumer Product Safety Commission, not the FDA.
Okay, why? Why does soap get to be so regulated?
Right?
By the safety
They
committee.
say you can talk to them about it, basically.
Yeah. They're like, it's not our problem. It's a definition thing, so...
But if a cleanser does not meet all these criteria, so they're saying if a product intended to cleanse the body doesn't meet the two requirements of soap, so it's kind of like the opposite. It's like these aren't the minimums; these are the only things it can do.
Yeah.
Then it's either a cosmetic or it's a drug.
Got it. So it would then fall under
cosmetic or drug.
Okay.
So soap is only those two things. So if it has detergents or it... Oh. Okay. So this is an example. If a product consists of detergents or primarily of alkali salts and of fatty acids and is intended not only for cleansing but also for other cosmetic uses, it is regulated as a cosmetic. So if there's anything in there that makes it a cosmetic,
that's what I was.
It's a cosmetic. It's considered a cosmetic. So I'm guessing, like you were saying, examples of cosmetic uses include making the user more attractive by acting as a deodorant.
Okay.
So stinky people aren't attractive, is what they're saying. Whatever.
Wow.
So shameful. Imparting fragrance. Katie smelled her pits. Imparting fragrance to the user. Or moisturizing the skin.
Got it.
So if you're doing anything whatsoever, like I'm assuming Dove, that's the first thing that comes to my mind because that's what I use, is like the white bar. Mm-hmm. It's like a moisturizing. They do the example of like the rose petal, like washing it with why would you? I love those commercials. They crack me up. So basically, they're like they keep repeating the definition of a soap, and if it's used to make you smell pretty. Or exfoliate, or in this case, there's another example for the drug where it's like preventing disease or affect the structure of the function of the human body, which if a soap could do that, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
I don't know what they're talking about, but maybe they're talking about like bath salts or something.
Maybe.
Which isn't a soap. Anywho.
So
yes, it is regulated as a cosmetic.
Facial cleansers.
Oh, this one too. This one can be regulated as both a drug and a cosmetic, which include antibacterial cleansers.
Okay.
And cleansers that are also intended to treat acne.
That's what I was thinking.
You got it. Yeah.
All medication or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So they're very clear that there is a difference between a soap and a cosmetic because there are cosmetic soaps, but their definition of a soap isn't a soap.
I would like to know what is just a soap then.
What I just said.
No, but I meant in terms of like if I wanted to go buy a bar of strictly soap.
It's strictly fatty acids. Haven't you seen Fight Club? Why?
I have seen it.
You have?
Ding 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 ding
Yay!
ding. Could I tell you anything really about it? No, because I'm not supposed to.
Because you're not supposed to talk about it. That was
and
a good
also,
one.
I don't remember much.
They're like using the byproducts of something to then sell soap again. I think it was like really gross. They're using something fat. I remember it was nasty.
I don't remember.
And the fat hardens, and that's what soap is. Fatty acids.
Because I would like to just buy a bar of soap that's not meant for anything else. So it's regulated by the Safety Consumer Board or whatever.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission, which I'm guessing if we go into
I'll have to look at them. And
check
then
them
they'll
out.
probably tell me what soap's safe.
Yes.
And
anything that has nothing fragranted.
Yeah, because I just want the dirt off of my skin.
Anyways, I just wanted to say that because remember we're
like, what is soap?
What is soap? What is color? I don't know. Anyways, so that's that. So does the FDA approve cosmetics before they go on the market? No. That's the short answer. The product's ingredients do not need FDA pre-market approval. I'm just going to say no.
Okay.
So as long as they're following those laws I just stated, the FDA like goes on to re-explain that they need to be labeled properly, but we just covered that. As long as they're following the law, they're not regulated, or they're not
they don't have to go through approval.
They are not approved before being sold.
Okay.
Who is responsible for substantiating the safety of cosmetics? Who, in other words, who is questioning whether or not these are safe and is testing that they're safe?
No one.
The company themselves.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So manufacturers do not have to report health companies or wow. Companies themselves are the ones who control the safety of their cosmetics and what they sell, and they are not required to report health complaints to the FDA.
How does that make any sense?
I know. So the companies and individuals who do the manufacturing have the legal responsibility to ensure the safety of their products. Okay. The law does not require specific tests to demonstrate the safety of the products or ingredients. The law also does not require cosmetic companies to share their safety information with the FDA.
Oh, cool.
The FDA says that they can use already available toxicological data on individual ingredients and formulations that are similar to theirs. But they're not going to tell you what it is because it's proprietary.
Yeah.
And if they feel like it's necessary, they can do more. So I'm just going to say right now, I have another side, the cosmetics side of it at the end that I'm just going to briefly touch on so that people who are in cosmetics don't get mad. I understand. I see you. Hold on 1 second. So the next thing is, can the FDA order the recall of a hazardous cosmetic from the market? No.
What?
I know. I told you were going to say what. Or you said that, but I agree with you. No. But if there is negligence and people are dying.
Oh, cool.
That's the short stroke. That's what I interpreted it as. Then the FDA can take measures using the law.
Wow. So people have to die from.
Okay. Maybe not die, but that was my interpretation. Like I said, recalls are done voluntarily by the manufacturers or distributors. Recalls that are hazardous, gross deception, or defective can be done, recalls, let me just keep reading past that. So the FDA is not required, or is not authorized. That's important. They're not authorized to order the recalls, but they monitor companies who they themselves recall a product or set of products. So if a recall is done by the company, the FDA is then going to monitor that and may request that a product does get recalled if the firm is not willing to remove the products from the market without the FDA's written request. So the way that I read that was, and if they don't do it voluntarily, despite there being evidence that people are being greatly affected and consumers are complaining, then the FDA will have to then submit official written statement of a recall.
Okay.
So it's not, it's the FDA is basically saying the companies themselves need to take care of it. Like, you be responsible. And if they don't, then they have to create a formal report. That's kind of how I read that. There's actually a reporting system, and this is good to know.
Okay.
For people who don't know this, that is for adverse effects. It's called I don't actually know what this acronym is. The CFSAN Adverse Event Reporting System. So it's funny because this acronym has an acronym within it. Actually, I just learned this today. It's not considered an acronym. It's called initialism. Initialism?
What? Then what's
this
an acronym?
Is important. An acronym is something that spells out a word when you use its initials.
Oh.
My dad schooled me on this today. Initialism.
Dang.
I needed to verify before I school everybody else. That's how it works, right? Once you get schooled, you school.
Yeah.
Yes, this is it. So we're teaching people as we go. So it's funny because there's a initialism within an initialism. It's initialism inception. The CFSAN Adverse Event Reporting System is a database that has information on adverse events and product complaint reports submitted to the FDA. These also aren't just cosmetics. It's also for food and dietary supplements. And I'm guessing drugs because it's the FDA. And the database is designed to support a safety surveillance program. So consumers and professionals can submit official complaints from any kind of complaint that they require, that they think is necessary. It could be very minor. It could be very serious. That way, the FDA knows about it. It's kind of weird. This is what I'm going to say right now is that I'm very, when I'm reading this, I had to read it 6 times because it's confusing. But there's a lot of touch and go parts of the regulations for cosmetics, if you can't tell. And the reports of the adverse effects are available to the public, which is good. And we'll have that link on the website to the extent which is permitted by the law and the FDA regulations. So how much information you're going to get out, I think it's probably going to be pretty, I didn't look at it, but I'm guessing it'd be pretty anonymous because then it's required from the company themselves to take matters into their own hands, blah, blah, blah. Any questions?
No.
Are you shocked?
I mean, I was kind of expecting this because of what I was looking up.
Okay, I'm not done yet, but wanted to give you a... All right, pushing through this. What actions can the FDA take against companies or individuals who have market adulterated or misbranded cosmetics? I almost said comics. They also sell comics and cosmetics. So they can go after the company or individuals who work within the company if there's enough evidence, like I said earlier. So this part was really interesting. So they can actually go to the Justice Department to remove the products from the market and initiate a criminal action against a person who's in violation of the law. So those are, again, specifically the misbranding and the adulterated. So that's kind of what the FDA always goes back to because that's where they have authority.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to prevent future shipments, I like this part, the FDA can request a federal district court to issue a restraining order against the manufacturer or distributor.
Oh, booyah.
I was like, dang. Anytime I hear restraining order, I'm like, oh, this just got real.
Oh, man.
And then cosmetics who are also breaking the law can be subject to seizure where the government takes possession over the cosmetics. Again, evidence, adulterated, misbranding. Those are the important parts. The FDA, what can the FDA inspect cosmetics and inspect the cosmetic manufacturers? They can and they do inspect the facilities to assure cosmetic product safety and determine whether cosmetics are adulterated or misbranded under our 2 laws. Again, I roll because you want there to be more authority, but there's not.
It's so almost like this, they want you to think that it's safe. So it's don't worry, it's all under the FDA. But then when you look into it, it's they don't really have much power.
Yeah, the FDA can look at it, but they're only looking at a 1/10 of it. They just care about, do you know what you're getting yourself into? The consumer. Does the consumer know what they're using? That's what they care about, really. But, and I know you're saying no, but what I'm saying is not from the secret standpoint. I'm saying if the consumer looks at a box and is told this is foundation and it says this is foundation and then it says do not use in eyes or mouth.
Do not ingest,
then those are the things they care about. They want to make sure that the consumer knows what they're getting. They know how to use it properly, that they're not being told this is concealer, but really it's,
glue,
lip gloss or glue. Those are the things that they kind of the higher level, they trust a lot to the makeup and cosmetics to figure this out. Does the FDA test cosmetics or recommend testing labs? So when they go through the facilities and they do their inspections, they can sample for examination and analysis. They can do import inspections. They can follow up to complaints of adverse effects associated with their use. And they may also conduct research on the cosmetic products and ingredients to address safety concerns. These are all the things that they can do.
The FDA.
The FDA.
Okay.
So we have been through audits before. Let's just, I'm going to be careful. Typically, audits aren't looking into every single detail of every single thing. It's what you have written, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to me, just because they're doing examinations and inspections, I would think that, and based on what you're going to tell us, just because they haven't found something doesn't mean it's not there. I think that's a general audit thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they do their best to comb through everything. But anyways, the FDA themselves do not function as a private testing lab. And in order to avoid even the perception of conflict of interest, they do not recommend any private labs to consumers or manufacturers for sample analysis. So it's basically, because this is funny, the FDA is kind of saying, like, presenting this to the consumers and also to the cosmetic industry of like, don't use private labs because that's going to look sketchy.
Why?
Because the private lab will tell you what you want to hear versus like an affiliated public lab. Like you yourself are like, we tested it and it's safe. It's like, okay, but you're paying your lab people to tell you that.
But it's kind of what they're already doing now because it's up to the cosmetic companies themselves to say that it's safe.
But like I said, they do not recommend private companies. They're saying, you can, but if you want to look good in the public eye and look unbiased, probably should outsource your lab work.
Because now I'm just thinking of all those like makeup commercials where they're like, or like the like anti-aging stuff where it's like, we tested or blah blah, like they have some sort of like stat or whatever. So now I'm like, where did they get that from?
Exactly. So is not from the FDA. Do cosmetic firms need to register the FDA or get an FDA license to operate? No. They encourage it, but there is no requirement. Exactly. I wrote like, why? Like in all caps.
But then, there's like no point of the FDA even being like anything to do with it then. If they're not
the FDA shouldn't even exist. No. It's, the thing is, so here's the thing.
There's not enough money.
No. Under the law, manufacturers are not required to register their cosmetic or file their product formulations with the FDA, and no registration number is required to import cosmetics into the United States.
No, why? Stop.
They encourage. So they don't have a lot of legal authority, but they do recommend and encourage and suggest and imply.
Someone needs to give them more authority.
Right. Talk to Congress. They need to make it. So we'll talk about. Don't worry, we're getting to that. Kitty, relax. Squeeze your stress ball. Okay. Though they encourage cosmetic firms to participate in the FDA's voluntary cosmetic registration program using an online registration system. So there is some peace of mind that exists, and maybe if the cosmetic you're using doesn't do that, hey, why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they registering themselves? Like, why wouldn't they?
And you can find that out?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes. I didn't look it up, but I'm assuming. Why would they have it if you couldn't? Cosmetic manufacturers, distributors, and packers can file information on their products that are currently being marketed to consumers in the U.S. and register their manufacturing and or packaging facility locations in the database. Because you do want to know your facility is not like, nasty. Yeah. I would hope. Oh, yeah. We'll have a link on the website for more information about that. Let's talk about color.
That's what I'm interested in, because I didn't know.
Color additives that the FDA has found to cause cancer in animals or humans may not be used in FDA-regulated products marketed in the U.S. So that's good, at least, right?
But see, that shows the progress of what can happen if you get some studies done.
Right. So that's just kind of like it's like, don't worry, like, we're not letting those get in there.
Those are the bad things.
Color additives are also regulated because people have specific allergies to these dyes. So they're also like, there's certain ones that are in foods. I think they mentioned like
Blue Lake 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Or like yellow 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those can be specific food color, color additives that are in makeup, cosmetics, foods, some other things too. And then the approval of a color additive for one intended use does not mean approval for other uses. So that's, remember I mentioned that earlier. Misbranding, adulterating, intended use.
Okay.
That is what the FDA cares about. This is the example that they gave.
Oh, no.
This is so interesting to me. No color additives have been approved for injection into the skin, even though tattoo parlors will often claim that the pigment in their inks are FDA approved. Are you shook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Wrap your head around that for a minute.
Oh, wait.
This is from the FDA's website. Likewise.
Oh, no.
Likewise, no color additives are approved for permanent makeup, a form of tattooing.
Uh-oh.
And henna is approved for use on the hair but not on the skin.
Wait, what?
Can you believe that?
Why would you put henna on your hair?
Wait, I've never heard of henna in your hair. Unless you're doing like some cool scalp thing. I don't know. But isn't that so interesting?
Yeah, it's funny because remember at work, our former he's getting all his color done on his tattoo this weekend.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there are things out there that we eat, we drink, we whatever, put on our faces that are not FDA approved. But if people are going around saying, and we're okay, we're alive. People have tattoos. They're okay. So far. Their parents might not be happy, but they're okay. I'm just kidding. They probably aren't happy. But you never know. Maybe they're cool parents. I'm a cool mom. I'm not a mom. But the thing is that they're saying that they're FDA approved, but they're not approved.
And, oh, man.
And this is from, like I said, this is from the FDA. I feel like we should count how many times I said FDA. But the
Drinking
FDA
game.
is like, oversees everything.
Dude.
But not really. Like, kind of, sort of. I know. Isn't this
no
is this
color
so wild? Nope.
Has been approved for tattooing?
Nothing. It's just
to be injected into your skin.
Yes.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. So nobody, like, those colors, like, okay, let me reread that. No color additives have been approved for injection into the skin. And there are also different types of color additives. So I'll have this on the website too. The link for this, where they go into it, because it is its own section and it's quite extensive. Oh, and something to mention, the allergies to color additives, they're saying it's rare, but that's why they have to specify, because it can happen.
So in terms of like intended use, if they say you can't eat these certain dyes, are you saying that they can get away with putting into makeup because you're not eating the makeup? Or just in general, you can't have those dyes anywhere?
Approval is only specified for its intended use.
Oh, okay.
So it could be that the colors that are used, color additives used injecting your skin, are approved in your cereal.
Oh, wow.
I'm not saying this is true.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, and that's what their point is that just because it has been approved in one use does not imply that it's approved for other things.
Okay.
And their example was that there are no color additives that haven't been approved for skin injection.
Well, I guess I'm not getting that tattoo anymore.
You can get tattoos. People are okay. It's just, I wonder where they're getting their color additives. So that's the thing. It goes down to the cosmetic industry or the color additive industry, whoever those people are, to then do their own testing. Katie looks real disappointed.
I don't like it.
I know. I'm sorry. So there's this really cool website that had an interview with this doctor who is a resident physician in the Department of Dermatology at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine.
Ooh, hey, that's my friend goes there.
Nice. Hi, friend. His name, not your friend, the doctor, is... Whoa. Katie liked that one. His name is Dr. Steve Zhu, I believe is how it's pronounced, XU. He was asked some questions. What would you like to see happen? He was asked in the concept of how the FDA is regulating. This is all under the umbrella of assuming that we're talking about the FDA does not have very good regulation / authorization.
Mm-hmm.
So he was asked, what would you like to see happen in this industry, or what, for the regulations? He said that the pendulum needs to shift. There have been multiple attempts to modernize regulations around cosmetics, which started in the 1970s. But this could finally be the year.
When did he get interviewed?
This year.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure. I remember looking at it, and it was very recent.
Okay, cool.
Dianne Feinstein and Susan Collins have introduced a bill to amend the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. It basically says that manufacturers would be required to submit complaints to the FDA, provide a complete list of ingredients, and it would allow the FDA to order recalls. What
Whoa.
a concept. And this is so lame, but since I've gotten invested in this, I have the chills.
I know.
Because I'm like so happy. I'm like,
I was
this
wondering,
is such a, like, what the
that's
heck?
the 2018
Yeah.
bill, right? Yeah.
So it was recent. It's not like right now, but
I remember seeing that, but I didn't read it because I was like, that's not me.
it's super long, and I have the what is this called?
Cliff Notes?
Yeah. No, the bill written out. I handwrote it. No, just kidding. I have it. It'll be on the website.
Okay.
It's for you to, peruse at your leisure.
I
Slash,
love
it's really long.
I love
so-
reading bills.
But what I just said, you're good. You don't need to read it.
Okay.
I assure you, according to Steve, Dr. Steve. He also goes on to say that if you compare the requirements of the U.S. and the EU, the European Union, the EU, obviously, it would be a far less stringent approach. The EU bans more than 1,000 chemicals. In the United States, we ban around 10.
No.
10.
Oh,
I don't want to make it so that Jesus.
I'm cosmad about it.
I am so cosmad right now. I'm going to throw a BF. Okay. I don't want to make it sound like cosmetics are unsafe. It's a very safe product.
That's my job when you're done.
What?
I was saying that's my job.
You're going to make cosmetics sound unsafe.
Yeah.
No. I'm telling you, this is him. Dr. Steve is still saying this, but okay.
Well, Dr. Steve,
He's like, let me back it up because he probably uses some of their products. He has to be careful. But he's saying it's a very safe product category compared with drugs or even food. I feel like we should talk about that someday.
Yeah,
But-
that's what. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say that this type of thing, like, it opens up, like, your mind in terms of thinking, like, what else isn't regulated? Like I thought
Right.
it was,
Yes.
which is everything.
He goes on to say, we have to think about how these products are being used on newborns, on pregnant women. We haven't We haven't modernized the system in the last 50 years. And in that time, the industry has grown and developed. So naturally, when you are going to expand your technology, you want to have some control measures. This is Kylie talking, not Dr. Steve. Right? Because it's like, this is very dramatic example, but like AI. If you're going to be having robots in the future who are doing all these things, but then you're like, we'll still let them be, do their thing. That was a really bad example, but do you know what I mean? Like you gotta keep up with what's happening. Anything else you wish more people realize about cosmetics? They ask him. Dr. Steve Zhu says terms like organic are not regulated, which means they have very little meaning. The same thing is true for words like hypoallergenic. People need to get that into their heads. So I'm going to take a moment to be on the cosmetic side. Here I am. Oh my gosh, cosmetics. So the cosmetic industry, just kidding. The cosmetics industry does have their own internal investigations, and they have their own website that is dedicated to defending themselves, basically.
It's like one, like their union or
whatever.
So
it
lobby.
is called it's cosmeticsinfo.org. And
I bet that's a lobby.
this is their, and this is what I'm going to describe it, and this is from their website. This website contains information about the safety, development and testing, and regulation of cosmetics and personal care products and their ingredients. This information is divided into 3 primary sections: safety and regulation basics, ingredient database, and a blog, which is educational videos and infographics to help demystify the science of beauty. So then they go on to stress how they go above and beyond the, I quote, strong federal safety regulations by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Already wrong.
Which is so classic to me, considering it's known how limited the regulations actually are.
Yeah, that's pretty shady statement.
Like, at least don't say it like something false. Like, don't say that it's strong when it clearly isn't.
You're already getting away with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
Right? I don't know. And then when you go on the website, so let me just pull this up real quick. So if you look at it, I'll keep my comments to myself about its appearance, but it goes on to go over like the safety basics, what's in my products, get the facts, that kind of thing. And they even have like the FDA regulatory oversight, global cosmetics regulations, cosmetics ingredient review expert panel, because there's a panel of experts who look at the ingredients
and like, oh, they're not bad for you,
and the cosmetic ingredient dictionary and voluntary cosmetics reporting programs. So they really are doing everything they can to say, okay, so the FDA doesn't require us, but look, like, we're really going above and beyond to do our part to keep you safe.
Interesting.
And I'm sure that this is kind of the sucky part, right? Because there are probably like those grade A, like, no, I swear, like, we're good cosmetic companies, like, we do our part, we do our due diligence. It's the bad apples that kind of like skew the image and probably heighten that side, the dark side, and then kind of put a shadow over all of the rest of it. And I'm not even hearing the stuff yet. This is just knowing what the regulations are and what the FDA says that they don't have authority over, and what they suggest and strongly recommend. So I think these are doing what the FDA strongly recommends. But, who's to say? And I'm sure you'll cover that. One last thing I want to say, and this was my personal curiosity, is what about animal testing? Because I was like, they hadn't really mentioned anything.
That's what I was wondering if that, because they aren't required to do any testing, if they put that label of like, no animal testing done, and then everyone's like, oh my God, they're safe. But it's like just because they aren't doing any testing.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's a really good point.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, probably. So here's what the FDA has to say about it. So I'm just going to say it's legal and they allow it, but, quote, they are a strong advocate of methodologies for the refinement, reduction, and replacement of animal tests with alternative methodologies that do not employ the use of animals. So I'm saying that first so that people aren't like attacking the FDA. But the FDA says animal testing by manufacturers seeking to market new products may be used to establish product safety.
Okay.
So the law is, yes, you can do that. In some cases, after considering available alternatives, companies may determine that animal testing is necessary to assure the safety of a product or ingredient. The FDA supports and adheres to the revisions of applicable laws, regulations, and policies governing animal testing, which include the Animal Welfare Act, the Public Health Service Policy of Humane Care, and use of laboratory animals. Those are the two. For some reason, I thought I was going to say three, but those are two. They also believe that prior to using animals, the company should consider using scientifically valid alternative methods rather than whole animal testing. And in 1997, the FDA joined along with 13 other federal agencies in forming the Interagency Coordinating Committee on the Validation of Alternative Methods, which is an initialism of ICCVAM.
Wow.
And that's that. So in short, sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
No,
like, that's it. I'm like, no. The FDA wants you to make sure that your products aren't adulterated or misbranded. They support their intended use. If they have color additives, there's regulations for those. So make sure you're following them. And you can test on animals to secure. It's funny because they don't require testing, but they're like, animals, it's fine.
That is weird.
Like as we're saying it, I'm like, anyways. So take a moment, everyone, to scream.
what I thought might be good to go into a little bit, and I found a pretty interesting article that went into kind of more of the science, because you may be thinking, okay, well, I don't really care what's in my makeup because it's just going on my face. Like, I'm not eating it or whatever.
You think that you're safe because it's just not being ingested.
Yes. But the issue is, and why we are paranoid about it, is that your skin is semi-permeable, meaning that it can absorb certain types of things and it can make its way inside of your body and into your bloodstream. So that's where the concern is.
Without it being injected.
Yeah, the stuff being put on your face could potentially, if it like meets, you know, if it's a certain size, charge,
like
there's
chemically,
yeah, it could go through your skin. So that's the issue, and why we care about what's in our makeup.
Why we care.
Yes, we care about it.
We care because we care.
We care because
cosmetics aren't regulated.
Because they don't care.
That is a good one. We care because they don't care. I like it.
It's tricky. So that's kind of the idea of that. We know that the skin can absorb stuff, but it's, from my brief research, it's hard for scientists to determine rates of what they call dermal absorption, because everyone's different. There's not any sort of constant that they can come up with, because different things like age or like how oily your skin is, or
I mean, yeah, everyone has different skin. I feel like that's like when you're going like shopping for like skincare, they're always like, what skin type are you? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's also hard to do studies because there's not really anything besides actually testing on skin that would mimic like skin absorption. So
yeah, you
kind of just have to go by what the ingredients are in the makeup, and like if they're known toxin or carcinogen. That same article kind of went into common ingredients. I'll give like a couple of examples, and then there's other articles that have like the dirty dozen of like the yucky chemicals that are very commonly found in most cosmetics. This also refers to, I know that you said in the FDA like laws it's not soaps, but and all these articles mentions like body wash and shampoo and perfume in terms of like what chemicals. Yeah, so they kind of like went more into all of those different things to find the chemicals, but a very common one is phthalates. Have you heard of those?
I have, and I don't know what they are.
I didn't either. So this is an example of bioaccumulation. So there's like two main things in terms of dermal absorption: bioaccumulation and then biotransformation. So bioaccumulation is the chemical being stored up in your body over time. Phthalates are one of them. So they're saying that over a long period of time, it could have some negative effects.
Well, accumulation, like it's not being metabolized by your body.
Yeah, it's a buildup of toxins in the body
that you can't get rid of.
Yeah, because they're being
kinda
stored
like
up.
lead.
Yeah, it's being stored up faster than your body can get rid of it.
Oh, okay.
So it's found in packaging, children's toys, agriculture, pharmaceuticals. So we're being constantly exposed to it. Personal care is like the highest one though. So that's like kind of the general term that would be makeup, you know, body wash, hairspray, blah, blah, blah.
Trying to, what was the phrase, like further your appearance or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Beautify.
Your attractiveness.
Yeah.
Infants, children, and teenagers are the most susceptible to phthalate toxicity because their skin's still developing. There is sufficient evidence to show that phthalates cause endocrine disruption as well as developmental and reproductive toxicity.
Oh dear.
So this is one of those things that's often found in scented products, but it's never listed because it falls under that general term of fragrance.
Oh.
So what you were kind of talking about in terms of companies not having to list their proprietary ingredients.
Yeah.
What I was seeing is that that's most commonly found for fragrance. So everything gets lumped into that word.
Great.
And so that's where they can kind of sneak in stuff that they know is bad for you. kind of, but it's like, oh, but it also like bronzes your skin.
Like, it smells good, but it stays in you
It's
forever.
fragrance. Yeah.
If only if it would accumulate in my armpits.
Yep. Fragrance doesn't have to be fully disclosed of what's inside of it.
Wow.
Another one that I thought was interesting and kind of sad is vitamin A. 2 forms of it, retinoic acid and retinol palmitate. In the so this is a example of biotransformation. So stuff in your products might not be bad for you, but we don't really know in terms of it being exposed to sunlight or other things.
Oh no.
It changes its chemical properties
While on your skin.
And guess what these vitamin A's are most commonly found in?
What?
Sunscreen.
Wait.
So,
but then you have the sunscreen block, no?
yeah, but I guess these 2 types of vitamin A in the presence of sunlight may increase skin tumors and lesion developments on your skin.
Okay. This is not good. Because I feel like I've seen those like really nice moisturizers. It's like reduce skin contact. No, reduce sun exposure or something like that. But on a sunscreen.
Yeah. Because I think like retinol and stuff is seen on a lot of those like anti-aging ones.
Yes.
But I would assume that they would have a label saying like, don't be in the sun.
Yeah, like limit your sun exposure.
Yeah.
Weird.
But
I think they do.
So this vitamin A is found in approximately 15% of sunscreens and moisturizers that contain SPF.
Ironic / helpful maybe.
So it was saying that it may take no more than 9 minutes of daily sun exposure over the course of a year while using topical products containing vitamin A to accelerate the development of skin tumors. But this is based off animal data, and so there hasn't been human studies. But so that's just the conclusions that have been made.
Well, yeah, because you can't force humans to have cancer.
Yeah. So just something to think of. These are things. And then the cool thing is there are a lot of websites and organizations that are trying to highlight these issues and also spread awareness of companies that are purposefully finding stuff to put in makeup and lotions and stuff that aren't bad for you. And there is one organization called Made Safe, and they're the only like type of certification that is out there in terms of testing and all that stuff to make sure that whatever they label as made safe is 100% safe for people. So
who regulates them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think they're just looking at these like known harmful things.
Like at least there's data on it, and so they're testing for those.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So there's other stuff. You can look them up. I don't want to go through all of the chemicals, but those are just examples of like bioaccumulation and biotransformation.
Yeah, that's really scary.
And then so I was looking up all these chemicals and stuff, and it's just crazy because it's in everything. And that they were saying one of the biggest issues with the perfume thing in particular is that for shampoos, there's basically like no shampoo that is like fragrance free.
No, yeah.
And even lotions and stuff that claim that they're fragrance free will still have that fragrance ingredient.
Yeah.
And that's what I noticed.
It's a fragrance that's not fragrant.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't smell.
With mine, I had a lotion that was just like shea body butter or something, but it wasn't scented, but it still had fragrance listed. So
it's like saying all water tastes the same. It's like all fragrance that are not fragrance have fragrance and are different.
Yeah, and so some of the ones that are trying to be safer, like they'll have fragrance with an asterisk, and it says like only natural oils or something like that, but they're still not listing it.
Right.
Because
proprietary.
So, and then I think what ties into a lot of this is money.
What? No.
So the global cosmetics industry has reached about a $265 billion revenue in 2017. But guess what the FDA's Office of Cosmetics and Colors budget is?
Like $5.
Only $13 million.
Oh.
So that's what people are kind of trying to say is like this industry that this organization is supposed to be in charge of, it's like so mismatched.
Yeah.
Like, how could you expect them to do anything?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. How can, not to put the FDA down, but how do you know they're not being like bullied or?
Well, that's why I'm saying the lobby for makeup is probably so crazy.
Yeah.
If you haven't had a new law since 1932.
I think that's what I said. In the 1970s, it was looked at, but not really much has changed. 1938.
1938. Yeah, because all the articles I was seeing was like 80 years.
Just imagine all of the FDA employees have like the nicest skin and
I know.
like are so beautifully like designed in all this makeup because they probably get free makeup. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a conspiracy. I'm just making that up.
It just made me not want to use makeup anymore. But those websites, they do have some brands that are quote unquote safe and use natural products. But
again, what does that mean? Sorry, not attacking you.
I think it means like organic, like it's like literally. And I know that he said organic doesn't mean anything, but from what I didn't look at their ingredients, but it sounds more not chemically made, if that makes sense. Well, and that's what they're saying too, in terms of like when the makeup is manufactured, say the makeup's fine, but whatever machinery or whatever they're using is going to deposit bad stuff too, and then they can get away with not having to clean it or check it or whatever.
Yeah,
because they're not required to. So it just kind of falls into our proprietary stuff.
Yeah, unless someone's like manually making all of the makeup in their blender that they clean out and they don't let get moldy or something.
Yeah. Let's see. An example, 2014, the FDA investigated WEN, which was a company that makes some sort of conditioner for your hair. They received 127 complaints from users saying that was causing their hair to fall out.
You know what's hilarious is that was my example.
Oh, really?
And I'm looking at it right now, and it's WEN hair. Yeah, right?
Oh, I didn't know, because mine is just all capital, so I didn't know if that was...
This is like capital W, lowercase en.
Oh.
And it's funny because I read that too. And then the sentence I was just looking at is, consumers allege the hair product or the products resulted in skin irritation, in some instances hair loss. And I'm like, I think that's what you're saying right this second. Sorry.
Is that okay if I say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're on the same page, literally.
So the FDA was getting those individual 127 complaints. So like, oh, okay, we'll investigate.
Via that probably adverse reporting system I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Cool.
So when they reached out to the company, they discovered that the manufacturer had received over 21,000 complaints related to hair loss and scalp problems.
What?
But from when this article was written, the product remains on the market.
Yeah, that's what this says too. 2.5 years later, we still don't know what is causing the complaints, and the products are still on the market. People.
So anyone looking at WEN by Chaz or Chaz Chaz Dean cleansing conditioners. It will maybe make your hair fall out
or skin irritation, and it's still on the market. What the heck?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the FDA can look at it. It sounds like the FDA literally went to them and like, hey, we heard there's some complaints, and they're like, yeah, actually we've got thousands, and they're like, okay, have a nice day, and then they left.
Keep track of those. Well, okay, so here's the thing. There's got to be something somewhere where they are taking measures or testing and have then, I'm not telling you this is true, but I'm just thinking like, if this wasn't being addressed in some way, then the FDA would be able to then take matters legally based on the fact, I'm trying to think of what I just said, right?
Like, that's gross.
Because it's being used properly, and they're, that's what I'm trying to think, like adulteration versus misbranding.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe that's how they get away with it. It's like, well,
it's written, like they know what
they used it the right way.
I guess if they had if there are warnings on there.
Oh, like
since these complaints, if they change the packaging.
Yeah, like, don't leave this conditioner in for more than 30 seconds.
Or whatever it may be. That could be how they can get away with it. Yeah. And this is not a podcast to tell cosmetic companies how to get away with stuff, but I could see how that would happen, because then at that point they are complying.
Yeah,
And then at that point, it's the risk of the end user. Oh yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, I'm even thinking of the skin products I've used. Like, okay, so for example, benzoyl peroxide is used for like facial acne or any acne. It kind of dries up the pimple, blah blah blah, or actually kills the bacteria. But anyways, ends up your skin gets dry. They say to not go in the sun. I think because of those similar reasons that probably like you were talking about, the transformation.
Yeah,
but there's a warning on there that says, and maybe if you weren't following that and then sued later, it's like, no, but the warning's on there. They're doing their part according to the FDA, even though it can cause these problems.
Yeah.
So man, I need to take a breath. Okay. This is an article about this stuff in general. Is it okay if I read it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm misreading it verbatim. 2 retailers of makeup geared to teens, on the other hand, voluntarily pulled their products from the shelves after a parent paid to have the products tested and found that the eyeshadows and face powder contained traces of asbestos.
Oh, cool.
Which cause cancer.
Yay.
So that just goes to show you, one parent, that company chose to recall. I mean, I don't know how big this company is. Actually, it was 2 retailers of makeup pulled their products versus when it's a play on one, had what, tens of thousands, would you say 21,000, and yet still continue to sell it online in QVC.
Cool.
Diane Feinstein says there is no other class of products so widely used in the United States with such little regulation. My lord.
And then, yeah, it's just scary, like all the stuff that has been found in makeup and that it's like bad for you.
Yeah.
Formaldehyde releasing preservatives, lead, talc.
What's talc?
It's like some sort of chalk mineral, like in eyeshadows or any sort of like facial powders.
Like something shimmery.
Yeah, the worst effects come from inhalation, and it could lead to health issues. I think you see those infomercials for like class action lawsuits for when it's stuff like baby powder or feminine hygiene powders. They are suing people for that.
I just got word of which of the 2, word as in I scrolled down the website, of what 2 companies it is. Would you like to hear?
Yes.
It is Justice and Claire's, which are 2, very large retail chains that do sell cosmetics for younger girls typically, or like teens. Justice recalled 8 Just Shine products, and Claire's pulled 17 makeup kits that included eyeshadow and lip gloss after those tests, they found out had asbestos in them.
Yeah, I found an article about a little girl who had a kid's makeup set from the Dollar Tree, and she had a really bad allergic reaction to it.
Well, because asbestos is not good for you. So it says that when denied any problems with its products, and Claire's last year denied that its products contained asbestos, citing results from who other than its own lab test results. So was that a whale? Because I like it.
Yeah, it's the whale.
Justice said last year that it has ended its relationship with the vendor that produced the makeup, just by coincidence, I'm assuming. It didn't have asbestos, but let's just change anyways.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with something different.
So yeah, there are other ones actually as well. The Safe Cosmetics Modernization Act, which is sponsored by Representative Pete Sessions, and the Cosmetic Safety and Modernization Act, introduced by Senator Orrin Hatch, which also give the FDA more authority, but do not require to do chemical testing. I mean, you have to think about it too. Like, where is this funding coming for more? I'm just saying, we're talking about giving the FDA more authority. It already has a budget of
$13 million.
$13 million. That seems like not enough to do anything if you're a federal agency.
Yep.
So,
and they're also in charge of, that specific cosmetic branch.
Cosmetic budget
is $13 million versus a $265 billion industry. So who do you think?
Was that, sorry. Was that $216 billion for the globe, or was that the United States?
Well, it says the global cosmetics industry.
Okay, because this one says the U.S. It says 62 billion.
Okay.
But it's still in the billion, where the FDA is in the million.
And if you can buy stuff on Amazon or internationally.
Exactly.
Anyway,
yeah.
Should that be regulated too? But I kind of want to buy stuff from the European Union now.
I know. If you're gonna, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because I feel like this episode, I'm actually gonna do a lot more research afterwards because I don't feel safe. Because I kind of buy cheap makeup anyway because I don't use a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
So
aren't you lucky? No, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but even just like shampoos, like body wash, any of your really expensive perfumes, probably not good for you.
And nowadays, I feel like makeup is kind of like on its rise.
Yeah.
Where people like care about their eyebrows and their eyeshadow and blending. And if you see all those makeup tutorials, there's like 30 things
that's what I was just gonna say. There's like so much stuff that you have to put on your face just to get that certain like contoured look that makes you look totally different.
Like everyone's looking like Kim K nowadays.
Yeah, it's crazy, but
it's true. It's so interesting.
A lot of foundation has stuff that's also found in cement.
What?
So mica, it's a mineral dust used in cement.
Sorry, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I just saw this again because I just wanted to keep scrolling because I didn't feel like justified yet. So Joe Hickson, a spokesman for YN, said that the company has no plans to recall the cleansing conditioners because its investigation and that of the FDA haven't found any link between the product and consumer complaints.
Oh my God. It's so he's saying, or she is saying, it's a coincidence.
I don't know any girls named Joe, but possibly.
Oh.
It has an E, so usually it's like Joe with the girl is no E, but maybe. Yeah, they have not found a link. He says, we've looked for any evidence for a reason to recall them and haven't found one.
Oh, okay.
We've been continuing to cooperate with the FDA. We would love anybody having an issue with their hair to seek out a doctor. Yeah, like what hair doctor? I know, middle fingers all around. It's just
what a not nice person.
You could at least acknowledge that there's a connection, but to deny everything, I don't think is right personally.
Yeah.
Justice said that in September it was working with the FDA on their recall, and that they're committed to providing safe products to their customers.
I know, and kids too. Like they're way more susceptible.
Yeah, like you were saying, their skin is changing more. And
your skin is the largest organ of your body.
Which kind of freaks me out, but it's true. Your microbiome is important.
And then I'm so like making sure that I always have my SPF moisturizer on.
That may or may not have retinol.
And then now it could be actually just increasing my skin cancer
likelihood
risk.
Yeah. Ugh. I know. Deep breaths all
There's
around.
also there's some sort of chemical in sunscreen that can kill the coral reef.
That's pleasant.
So
is that what's happening in Australia?
Well, I think it's part of it. But so there's that to look into. But I don't know, just I guess that's something you should take into consideration of like being aware of what you're putting on your body.
Yeah. This is tricky though, right?
It is.
Because it's like this is where you will probably get called paranoid for caring about this, because truly it's like it's almost set up to make you feel paranoid.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lose-lose, because the FDA is like, they're going to tell you it's this thing, but guess what? We can't what's the word I'm looking for? Guarantee that that's true.
It's just like, but there are some websites that have their own research and stuff and links to, like I said, stuff that is better for you. You can do your own investigation. There's like safecosmetics.org. They have their apps called like Think Dirty. So
make sure you're not doing like .net versus .com because you might get a different result.
It's an app, so you can find out whether the products you use are safe or not.
Oh, that's cool.
It ranks them on a scale of 1 to 10 and offers cleaner solutions. There's also Skin Deep, Good Guide, and Healthy Living apps.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Made Safe, the one that I mentioned, it's a nonprofit, provides America's first comprehensive human health-focused certification for non-toxic products, from baby stuff to personal care to household and beyond.
Wow.
So this is from them. Their goal is to eliminate the use of toxic chemicals like altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And then they help on their website by giving lists of stuff that's safe and what causes the harm. And then they give their approval, like their Made Safe approval, to products that pass their like non-toxic screen, I guess.
You know what I find ironic about that as well? Sorry, not to just be like annoying. I'm like getting deeper into this cosmetic inception where I'm just like, okay, well, if they're testing whether or not it's safe, are they testing it on animals? What are they testing it on?
I don't know.
Doesn't that make you think though?
I mean, I think on their website they'll have it.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like every time we look at one more thing of like, oh, that's good. It's like, but what's looking at that, and who's testing this, and who's regulating and authorizing any of this?
Yeah. So you should definitely look them up so you can see more.
But that's cool that they exist. Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't mean to take away from
like,
that.
I didn't look into like who they are.
Yeah.
It's like, what if they're like run by
the
Maybelline?
Cosmetic industry?
You could also make your own makeup.
Yeah,
I didn't look into it, but that was another suggestion. Like, apparently making like lip scrubs and lip balms and stuff are really easy. And kind of doing this research, I feel like I'm definitely gonna look more into it for my personal like well-being.
Yes,
but that kind of does bring up, because I think another issue that I've heard, I don't know if that would be a future episode, but along the same lines as like household cleaning products.
Yeah,
those are supposedly really bad, like the stuff that's in them.
Yeah.
So just be aware. There's bad chemicals everywhere.
And another fun fact, you remember you're talking about making your own makeup or cosmetics? Dr. Steve Zhu said
to not do it.
No, the question was, if I want to make a skin cream, could I just start selling it? His answer was, the next day, no problem.
Dang.
Legally. You're not required to register.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dang.
But if you sell it, you got to make sure it's not adulterated or misbranded. And that its intended use is supported. And there are warning statements as necessary. And there's no color additives. Sorry, just saying. No. Isn't that nuts? So it's kind of cool for like entrepreneurs who are trying to sell their makeup, but also the rest of us who are using it. Do your research.
Yes, that would be my biggest thing. And that you're not paranoid for caring about the makeup.
Absolutely. Especially it's like, what are they hiding? They're not telling you.
Nope. But it's fragrance.
It's fragrance. It's phthalates. It's retinol.
It's all
maybe
kinds
it's Maybelline. But
maybe
really,
that's like an inside joke to them. Like, maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's our stuff. Maybe it's some unknown chemicals. We don't know.
It's proprietary. Yeah. I mean, and those in the cosmetics industry, I'm sure, like I said, there's people who are doing their part. The Made Safe.
Yeah, I feel like that's
trying. Great. Yeah, that's awesome.
There are products and companies that are trying.
Exactly. And just because the FDA says you don't have to doesn't mean they're not. But people like Chaz Dean over here are not making it look good.
That's so annoying.
That's ridiculous. And I think people just don't know. It seems like that they keep they're successful still.
If they are allowed to keep selling, then they probably don't have to say that some people had their hair fall out, but we don't know why.
When is it going to end? When someone who is very passionate about this, please.
Now me.
Katie will be
your apprentice.
What? Oh, to them.
Yeah. Because
I meant to me. I'm like, I'm not the passionate one. Like, I'm passionate, but I'm not gonna I'm not going to go lobby at Wen's door or Chaz's door. Anywho. Oh, I have a story.
Okay.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah.
Okay. People might not like this, but I think it's funny because it's kind of ironic.
Okay.
And I find irony hilarious.
Okay.
The title of this is from BuzzFeed News. Is a big vegan YouTuber is leaving veganism after he broke down and ate raw eggs after a 35-day water fast.
Ew, wait, what?
Isn't that the weirdest title you've ever read? And this is so 2019.
Raw eggs?
All of it is so interesting. Tim Sheaf is how I'm going to pronounce his last name. It's Shieff. Tim's admission that he will consume meat for health reasons has made many vegans angry and led to his ouster from the vegan clothing company he founded.
Wow.
And is receiving a lot of backlash for announcing that he would be eating meat again. After admitting last year he ate raw eggs and salmon after a 35-day water fast.
No.
What world are we living in that you're drinking, what, just water for 35 days? Or does that mean you're not drinking water for 35 days?
It sounds like water only.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
guessing.
You die?
He is a champion freerunner who has appeared on American Ninja Warrior, so
Okay.
you know he's got to be pretty good. Has been prominently featured in the media for his vegan lifestyle as an athlete. He was even in that film that I've seen even called What the Health, and contributing to Forks Over Knives. He promotes his lifestyle through social media. He has over 175,000 subscribers on YouTube and 85,000 Instagram followers. He said that in November he ate those raw eggs and salmon, and he posted a video called Am I Still Vegan? After he said that he had been experiencing health issues while on his vegan diet. These included digestion issues, depression, fatigue, brain fog, lack of energy, and waking up stiff in his joints, which are pretty, I think that's like pretty debilitating.
Especially if you're an athlete.
Yeah, he said he couldn't do push-ups without getting injured.
Oof.
That's how bad it was. I mean, if you're only drinking water, I can see how that happens, but
yeah, that's probably not a great choice either.
He said to try to heal himself. So it sounds like he was talking about not being able to do push-ups while on the vegan diet. He said that he had tried a variety of different diets, which included a fruit and herb fast. Didn't know that was a thing. A high-fat diet, a high-carb, low-fat diet, and trying different supplements. And I'm quoting here, drinking his own urine for 2 years.
No. Okay, this guy just...
But overall, there was still a general slow decline, he said. He then went more extreme by doing a 35-day water fast.
How did he not die?
And then after that, picked up his vegan diet again. So, assuming he was feeling real bad, because when you deprive your body of everything for 35 days,
yeah, that's not...
Veganism's probably not going to be much more helpful. I feel like if you're doing a vegan diet after... this is where I'm like, I don't know if people will like me after this. But, like, I don't know all of the facts about veganism other than what they're eating and not eating. I feel like if you're not being consistent, I can see why your body would deteriorate.
Yeah.
And it would probably take a really long time to get your vegan diet back and available to sustain your body quickly.
Yeah, because that's almost like... Because I feel like a vegan lifestyle's sustainable. I would feel like if you were educated on, like, what your body needed... nutrient-wise.
Yeah.
But that guy was not doing that, and he was doing weird cleansing and fastings and stuff.
Urine stuff.
Yeah, that's not normal.
So he decided to try animal products. He tried the local raw eggs and wild-caught salmon, and he called the move, quote, a huge identity crisis. But admitted he felt better. He has come to terms with it and made peace, and... Since he is no longer vegan, he's stepping down from the company, which is called Ethics. See, this is an acronym, not an initialism. ETHCS. Getting a lot of hate on Instagram for his role in the company after his, hypocrite move, so to speak. One person wrote, "You shouldn't really be advertising ethics anymore since you're just hurting it. You should have just slipped away quietly rather than bringing the entire movement into disrepute." Another person wrote, "LOL at ethics, I'll pass," with a chicken and a fish emoji. Oh yeah, sorry, it's not funny, but I just thought it was really dramatic. Another person wrote, Sorry to hear about Tim and the animals who will suffer at his expense.
Oh, God.
Some have supported him. Many praised him for putting his health first. And some people are saying that they, had the same experiences. And it's inspirational to see someone who has been through a hard change for themselves and is taking so much care to make that change.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up the good work. So,
yeah.
Obviously, if you're the head of a movement and then you're like,
yeah,
surprise, I'm not doing that anymore. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like extremely life-changing, and you've probably you yourself have probably changed a lot of people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why he gets a lot of backlash for
Yeah.
that. And also, like, who the heck, I mean, I get if you're promoting it, then
Mm-hmm.
you probably shouldn't be a hypocrite, but people, like, if these people are deciding to change their minds
For their
for
health.
their own health,
Not because they enjoy killing creatures.
no, and doesn't necessarily mean that they're eating, like, veal.
Mm-hmm.
They're, choosing to eat, like, eggs or salmon or something.
Mm-hmm.
All animals matter, but you know what I mean. I'm not, I just, whatever. You get
Yeah.
it. I am not vegan, if you cannot tell. But anywho.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be kind of I don't know. I just really liked the dramatics part of it and kind of shock value with the whole urine thing.
Yeah.
But anywho.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's it for this week. If you have questions about what we talked about
Mm-hmm.
for cosmetics, we will have all of the links on our website, you'renotparanoid.com. On the front page, go to episodes, or you can even search the episodes. If you remember, we talked about cosmetics or makeup or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the FDA has all of their information, and if nothing else, get the facts so that you know what you're working with every day. Maybe that highlighter,
Mm-hmm.
you get the highlights on the highlight. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
It's all about being educated and informed.
I mean, you can still use it.
Yeah.
I'm all for, I don't want to be called a hypocrite because I still use this stuff. At least I know what I'm getting myself into. I think that's the part that I get kind of bummed out about, is that the principle of the matter is if you don't know and are getting screwed over,
Mm-hmm.
that sucks. But at least if I'm aware and I make that choice, that's on me.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
You can also follow us on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. You're Not Paranoid. Twitter, You're Not YNP Podcast. If you've had your allergic reactions to makeup or something like this, or cosmetics, feel free to send us your stories.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay excited for Phobia Friday, which will be coming out in a few days.
Yep.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Check your makeup.
Bye-bye.
Bye.